Starting off with the regular 3-stranded braid, you cross the right one over the middle strand and then the left one over the middle strand. After you repeat those steps, you will start to see the braided look. Each time you will have 2 strands on one hand and 1 strand in the other hand, keeping the same pattern and consistent tension on the hair. Just like the first video, you're going to start off with 3 strands, but instead of crossing them over each other, you're going to begin to cross them underneath. Later on in the video, you will see this technique used to create a Dutch braid. Make sure you keep the same tension and the same consistency and pattern so the braid looks the same all the way down to the ends. Also, hold the hair as comfortable as you can so you can get the feeling of using that same technique when you do a French braid or Dutch braid. After parting the hair down the middle, take a section at the front hairline and separate it into 3 strands. When you start to braid the hair like a normal braid, you will realize that in one hand you'll have 2 strands of hair, and in your other hand you will have 1 strand of hair. Each time you cross the strands over each other, you always want to add hair to the side that only has 1 strand. When I do a French braid, I hold the hair with all of my fingers except for my pointer and my thumb, so it's easier for me to grab and separate each strand. For a French braid, I always think to flip my palms downward as I grab each strand, like I just did right there. Every time I grab a strand of hair, I comb it out a little bit so it doesn't have any bumps. I usually use my thumb to part the hair as I add, so it's a nice clean line when I start to add the hair down the head. Make sure you're pulling the hair tight so it has no loose parts of the braid. Pulling the middle strand of hair will help tighten up the braid as you go down the head. Using a spray bottle could also help with flyaways if the hair is frizzy or if you have a lot of baby hairs that you don't want sticking up out of the braid. Remember to always keep a consistent tension to the hair so it's not loose and tight in different sections of the braid. Some people hold the hair differently as they French braid, but I find this the easiest way. Make sure you have a comfortable grip all the way down the head so you don't lose your pattern and your tension towards the bottom. Once you get to the bottom, it's just a simple 3-strand braid crossing over each other. And now you have a French braid. For the Dutch braid, I decided that I was going to spray down her hair to keep her flyaways and baby hairs in place as I braid. Just like the French braid, grab a section of hair at the top front hairline and separate it into 3 pieces. Remember that a Dutch braid is flipping the strands underneath each other instead of over each other, which means put the right strand underneath the middle strand and then the left strand underneath the middle strand. Also remember that you're only adding hair to the side that has 1 strand, just like in the French braid. To make things easier, you do not have to hold on to all 3 strands at the same time. You could let go completely of the strand of hair that is only on that one side. And as you're grabbing hair to add, also grab the strand that you let go so you could keep that same pattern of braiding. In the French braid, you saw me flipping my palms downwards to cross the hair over each other, and then I can grab it immediately. For the Dutch braid, you could see me flipping my palms upwards so I could grab the hair that's underneath, which is making the strands cross underneath each other to make that Dutch braid effect. Make sure the side that only has one strand, you keep pulling that strand to make the braid tight. And that goes for all braids. Using my thumb to separate each strand that I'm adding, I comb it out to make sure there's no bumps. Make sure you add to each side that only has one strand. And don't forget to keep the same pattern all the way down the head or whichever direction you're doing the braid in. Once you get towards the bottom, it's just a single regular braid, but make sure you keep that technique of twisting the strands underneath each other and not over each other, because if you put it over each other, it will not look the same. And that is a Dutch braid. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more braided looks that I've done in the past.